Hey y'all, and welcome back to Mama's Got Something to Say, episode 8. I have heard that after 7 episodes is usually when people stop doing their podcast because they're not getting the views and stuff. Well, guess what? I'm barely getting the views. I got my homegirl Austin. She always shows up every single week. Shout out, Austin. Love you, boo. All right. This podcast is going to be raw and a little emotional for me because it is very, very hard to talk about my anxiety and trying to explain it and trying to get people to understand it. So if I sound like a broken record, it's probably because I am one. Have you guys ever met someone who is loud, funny, social, and the center of attention, and then goes home and replays every single conversation like it's evidence in a murder trial? Yep, that's me. I can host, I can perform, I can be the personality in the room, but if I don't feel safe, if it's outside of my comfort zone, my nervous system says absolutely not. Being outgoing doesn't mean that you don't have anxiety. You can be socially skilled and still chemically wired to panic. High-functioning anxiety is sneaky. You're the fun one until your nervous system clocks out. Just because I can do it doesn't mean that it doesn't cost me. When you grow up without control, your brain becomes hyper alert. Your nervous system learns, if I don't control it, I'm not safe. As an adult, anything unfamiliar equals a threat. It's not that I don't want to have fun, it's that my body doesn't believe that we're safe. Now we're going to kind of dig into that because I was adopted twice. Our egg donor, she dropped my sister and I off, and we basically didn't see her after that. And so that was completely out of our control. And then we went to go live with our other relative, and her husband were just shit people. They fostered us and adopted us for the money. They adopted somebody else for the money. And they were just trash people. Now, don't get me wrong. Christmases were amazing. They took us on vacations and stuff, but behind closed doors, there was no control. They treated us like trash. They basically would let us go to the skating rink. They would drop us off on Friday night for an all night just to get rid of us so they wouldn't have to worry about another child in the house, which is fine. But we had no control over the shitty things that happened to us when we were little. And my sister and I went through a lot of traumatic shit when we were little. And I think it's why we are who we are today. Now, setting boundaries with that is a little harder when you have an outgoing spouse. My husband loves anything fast and outdoorsy and all that stuff. Well, so do I. But it doesn't mean that I want to be in the car doing fucking donuts or burnouts, because that is dangerous to me. I am struggling on the inside when I am sitting passenger princess and he's doing a burnout and the back of the car is going back and forth. Or he goes to do a donut or whatever. That is dangerous to me. That is exhausting for my anxiety. Now, let's get into medications. Should I be medicated? Absolutely. Am I? No. Because I don't like feeling like a zombie. I had been on medications at the age of 13. I was severely depressed when I went to my now mom and dad, the people that adopted me, and I would just stare off into the distance because I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I was grounded my entire life. Like, there was no control. I wasn't able to do anything. So some meds help people tremendously. Some don't work well for certain people. Finding the right balance is trial and error. I did that with a lot of medications, and every single one of them made me feel like a zombie. Anxiety isn't always mind over matter. It doesn't have a switch. I can't flip it off when everybody wants me to. It's not that easy. It can absolutely be chemical. If it can also be trauma-informed nervous system conditioning, and that stems back to the no control in my childhood. It was conditioned in me because that's the only thing that I could cling on to was my anxiety and my nervous system. I don't need a motivational quote. I need my nervous system to calm down. But I don't want medication to help it calm down. Would you rather have a zombie or the fun me that cracks very inappropriate jokes or talks shit? Here's the catch-22 of it all. If you don't go, people are disappointed. If you go, you're miserable. If you leave early, you're dramatic. And if you stay, you're overstimulated and resentful. Everyone else is having fun, but I'm sitting there surviving with a huge smile on my face. The people who get it, the ones who don't pressure, the ones who read your face, and the ones who don't make you feel crazy. If you have two people who understand your anxiety, protect them at all costs. And I have a few. So thank you for talking me off of a ledge more than 2 times. Here's what people don't see. The mental prep before events. I am mentally preparing days or even weeks before I go somewhere. The escape plan. I always will have an escape plan. The scanning the room. My husband likes to sit where he can see the doors when we go out to eat. I absolutely hate that. I want to sit on the same side, but I'm the type of person where I have to sit directly across from my husband when we eat. He's left-handed, I'm right-handed, so it doesn't really mesh well in some booths. Plus, I like to see his pretty little face. Now, him and I will go to our favorite bar. Sometimes. It's very, very rare. But we'll go to our favorite bar, and I'm not really out of my seat from the bar mingling. If you see me, I'm on the very far side next to the bathrooms where I can see both of the front doors. So I can scan the room and see each and every person. Now, if you can't find me there, you can find me in the back, in the smoking area. But also, I'm in the very back where I can scan each and every person. If you asked me, hey, what was the guy in the blue hat wearing? I could tell you what he was wearing, who he was flirting with, what he was drinking, what he ordered his little flirt. But then if I go back to the bar and I sit there, I'm watching. I can tell you the order of everyone sitting at each bar stool. Every single one. I can tell you what shot they got. I can tell you how many beers and how many shots they've had. I'm a very visual person. Let's talk about the mood shift when I'm pushed too far. Yes, I am loud and I'm opinionated and stuff like that. But people get confused about me being loud and opinionated and me being pushed too far. When I start crying, it's because my body has had enough. I can't do it anymore. I physically feel like I'm going to vomit. We'll talk about the shame after. when we get done doing something and I am completely exhausted, or I've had such a panic attack or an anxiety attack, I will lay in the bed for a day because I am mentally and physically exhausted. And then I'm thinking about everything that I said and everyone's facial expressions, and when I get overwhelmed and overstimulated. It's not that I don't love people, it's just that my nervous system gets tired of performing. Maybe the goal isn't to be fearless. Maybe the goal is to stop apologizing for having a nervous system. I'm not difficult, I'm dysregulated. Now, with that being said, this was a very emotional podcast for me because not everyone has anxiety. My husband doesn't have anxiety. I'm sure he does, but it's not the same as mine. Plus, he's a big macho man. He doesn't talk about shit like that. I wish that he would sometimes, but he doesn't. Me, on the other hand, I'm going to tell you how I feel when I feel it. And when I'm overstimulated, I get very amped up. And I don't like being amped up because then it seems like I have an attitude. But I don't have an attitude. I'm anxiously trying to tell you why I feel the way that I feel. So anyways, that is my anxiety. And I'm not sorry for it. And I'm not going to be put on medication for it. I am who I am. And I'm allowed to say, hey, I'm uncomfortable doing that. And I'm not going to do it. And I'm not going to be forced to do it. That's that. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys next week. I love you.